That is a pretty pink sky. Today's the 28th. Look at that. That is a pretty pink sky. Over the Orlando area. That Lower East dropping bombs everywhere. They look pink on the Atlantic Ocean side too. This is going towards the west. Wow. That Lower East dropping bombs like crazy. That's why I've been feeling like crap like a couple days ago. First, there's a bit of a pinkish hue in the sky. See that? And when you go this way, when I'm walking this way, it's kind of pink, though it's not as intense a pink as I've seen previously. I just wrote this new law to mandate mental health reconstructive genetic surgery for Lori McBride and her Jesuits. And I hear brain to brain we've cut her army down to about half as a result of doing this, but I don't know how accurate that is. Pink right here. Actually, I'm seeing pink everywhere. The north, west, east, and south. She's hitting all angles. So she's got me pretty well covered here. Western sky. Western sky. I'm going to go here is the northern sky. And here is the eastern sky over the Atlantic Ocean. Eastern sky. And then here is the southern sky. It's not, the intensity of the pink seems to be going down. I don't know what that means. I take it back. That's pretty respectably pink. It's still, this is March the 1st. She's still dropping a ton of bombs. This is pretty pink. I mean, very pink.
I've got an awesome.
A pretty sunset.
You get a picture of the tree face, right?
Yeah, the what?
Going around the corner there, then you have an open clear spot.
Yeah, that's pretty. What a sky. But I mean, my camera makes it look like it's gold. I just came back from my walk with my walking partner, the one who gave me that Trump poster that you see up there. And so I told her that I framed it. She said that she got some banners and stuff from the Trump rally, and I believe it was on the 18th. Yeah, I got the date wrong on my previous video. So anyways, I am expecting to get I think the shower hooks tomorrow, so I might make another video tomorrow, or you know, I'll show the new shower curtains. I actually have two new shower curtains. One's a liner and one's real colorful. So I'll put the colorful one up and I'll show that to you when I'm done. The reason I'm making this video is because I just passed some new conspiracy law. And I was I was doing some private messaging with Zach Knight on Twitter, and he and I do that every now and then. And though my men haven't told me what their court case is about, I was able to deduce that Lori McBride is the head of the evil Jesuits. And Zach Knight informed me, he said, Gail, because you take Seroquel, he said that deals with formaldehyde, and so formaldehyde cannot affect you. Apparently, Seroquel is a detoxifying. Jesus made it into a detoxifying drug, so that if I inhale or ingest any toxins like that, it will take it out. It doesn't allow it to affect my body. So apparently, the symptoms that I thought were coming from formaldehyde were actually probably brain control and or Lori's yeast bombs. And as you can tell by the previous videos that I'm posting here, she's going to town with the yeast bombs. Though I feel better today than I did yesterday, but the sky looked more pink. I'm not sure what that means. I don't know if my Gail shield is starting to take some of the nasty stuff out of the air, or maybe my men are doing it. They set up a scanner in my apartment to remove toxins and allergens from my air. So now I no longer leave my windows open because I trust the scanner. And they said they're using that to remove any formaldehyde or anything that's in the air. And Zach said that might be a little overkill because you're on Seroquel and that takes care of all that stuff anyway. I've noticed that Jesus told me not to worry about toxins. So I believe that if I do get a little, if I inhale some chemicals like formaldehyde, or maybe like if I eat off of microwave something on a little, I've got microwavable plastic containers, but Jesus, I can tell, doesn't want me to worry about that stuff. Apparently Seroquel just removes all the toxins from my body. Now obviously if I was flooded with them, it would be different, but Seroquel does that. So I passed some new law. I've been really confused over why we have been unable to reach, and I think it's about half the Jesuits are following Lori McBride, and why it is that they're not following Zach Knight. Zach admitted this to me. He said, Lori seems incentivized to oppose everything that I do. And I thought, that's really strange. Because, when Zach was the Jesuit leader, I thought he was considered like the hottest guy in the world by the Jesuits, and they literally worshiped him. So I thought, how in the world is Lori McBride getting such a following? She is such a bitch and I thought, you know what? I remember Jesus and my men just discuss, well, especially my men. Whenever we had to replace like an arm or something that got damaged, because once Brent had a heart attack and they had to replace his arm, and they tried to replace it with a clone arm, and they found out that arm had like a mind of its own. Apparently, anything that uses cloning technology is inherently evil. So I believe the problem is that Lori McBride is a clone. She's not a prime Jesuit. A prime Jesuit is somebody who came into the world via the normal method, where a man and a woman have sex, and then the man makes the woman pregnant through sex, and then she has a baby. That's a normal baby. A clone baby comes about usually because they were created in a laboratory. And I believe Lori McBride was created in a laboratory. They can also create clone babies probably through artificial insemination, but I believe that most of them come out of a laboratory. They don't come into the world through the birth channel, And for some odd reason, the Jesuits get their cloning technology from the fallen angels. They've had this technology for years. Jesus told us even Catherine the Great had a clone. And that's how the Jesuits managed to spread rumors about her, that she was having sex with horses. Jesus said Catherine the Great herself was not having sex with horses. But after the Jesuits murdered her when she sat on a toilet and they had spring blades go up into her rear and kill her, the Jesuits actually murdered Catherine the Great. And that what happened is the spring blades caused a loose clot in her rear to go to her brain and give her a stroke, and she died. So they killed her. And then after she was killed, apparently her clone, or maybe when she was alive, her clone had sex with horses, and that got reported. And that's why there's a rumor, a lot of people are saying Catherine the Great had sex with horses. And the reason the Jesuits consider me such a threat is because I have the genetic profile of Catherine the Great and King David. So I thought, why won't the Jesuits follow the lead of Zach Knight and, quit being so difficult? I know Lori McBride has been consumed with jealousy. We've been doing brain and emotion reads on her, and she's got my jealous sister on her side. Apparently, like attracts like. Lori McBride is jealous because she's physically beautiful, and she thinks she's more physically beautiful than me. And she was programmed since her creation to steal Brent Spiner from me. She was created just for that purpose. In fact, Brannon Braga, the Star Trek writer, was a Jesuit in secret while he was working nestled inside of Paramount Studios. And he was one of the scientists who worked with Rule 13 and the Jesuit order to create Lori I don't know if it was Rule 13, because that was back in 1992. But I know Brannon Braga, along with the Jesuit scientists, created Lori McBride in the laboratory, and they created her specifically to take Brent Spiner away from me, because they knew that Brent was in love with me. Apparently, they had a wiretap on my phone, and they heard him calling me on the phone and making love to me, and they got on this. And so I decided, you know what? If she was created to be evil, maybe she's not able to overcome the way she's her genetic profile. So I've written new law that any clone, most clones are inherently evil. It's because they have the DNA or the genetic profile that they got from the fallen angels. which are Satan's army. Right now, the fallen angels are out in outer space in semen bubbles, but the Jesuits originally got cloning technology from the fallen angels. And so I thought, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't just execute these people. Maybe the reason the Jesuits are not coming over to Zach Knight's side is because they feel that they can't change who they are. They were born to be evil. They were created to be evil. They have evil DNA. So I thought maybe our nanotechnology research team can study clone DNA and maybe come find some way to rewrite it to give these people, to remove the evil from the clone DNA. I don't know if it's possible, but I've written new law that we should try to attempt to do this with clones who have an obsession with using rape as an entrance into a sexual relationship, that's how Laurie McBride and Camilla Alves got into their relationships with Brent Spiner and Matthew McConaughey. They raped their way in. With Camilla, it was bomb rape. With Laurie, it was drug rape. And they are programmed from the time they're born or created to be like this. They don't know any other life. So I think they just believe that this is the only way they know how to live, and they don't think they can get outside of that construct, the way that they were genetically programmed to be. So I've made it mandatory. Basically, they're programmed to be mentally ill and to have an unhealthy approach to sex, love, and marriage and parenthood. They create children not because they want to be mothers, but to use the children as weapons to trap a man into marriage to them. So that's what they're like. So I have said, I've written new law. I'll have a link to it underneath this video. I've also posted it on my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, Google+. I'll have all the links underneath this video that now it's mandatory that if a rapist clone Jesuit is programmed to be that way, they have to report to our scientists, and we're going to reprogram them if we can. And if it works, it's going to be mandatory. But that does not mean that you should not listen to my weapons videos, because I believe the Gail shield is designed to only take out the Jesuits that are evil. And I think the Gail shield will know in advance if the Jesuit will come over to us and allow us to operate on them to transform their evil DNA into good DNA. So continue to listen to my weapons video. I'll have a link for that underneath this video as well. But I just wanted to give you an update that I have added a new conspiracy law, and we're trying to be absolutely fair to these Jesuits. Obviously, if they were programmed to be evil, we can't expect them to be good if that's how they are. In other words, if they were evil from birth because they were programmed that way and they can't overcome their programming, then we have a responsibility, or Zach Knight does as the Jesuit leader, to find a way to undo that programming so that they don't have to be responsible for evil behavior which they have no control over. But I'm not sure this is true. Maybe they do have control over it. But just in case it is true, I'm trying to be absolutely fair to them. So that's what my new law is all about. And we got to stop them because they're murderers, rapists, thugs. They're dropping bombs everywhere, making people sick, killing people, and this has got to stop.